Welcome to today's video tutorial on creating second brain using Notion and the Chiago-Forte Para method. In this video, I will guide you through the process of setting up your second brain template, organizing your information effectively, and optimizing your workflow. Let's get started. First, let's understand what a second brain is and how the Para method can help us manage our knowledge and information more efficiently. A second brain is a digital system designed to capture, organize, and retrieve information effectively. The Para method, developed by Chiago-Forte, stands for Projects, Areas, Resources, and Archive. It's a framework that helps us categorize and structure our information to make it easily accessible when needed. Before we proceed, let's create database page. This page will contain all of the database that we want to create later on. Now, let's dive into creating the necessary databases for our second brain and explore how they relate to each other. We'll start by setting up the areas database, where we'll categorize our information based on different domains or areas of interest. Delete this property because we don't need it. Let's add the first row with personal area. We can create default template for the new area that we want to add. If we create this default template, every time we add new area, the icon and format will be the same. Next, we can add a select property. This will allow us to select what type of area it is, whether it is personal, business, or school. Add media property so we can upload the cover image for each areas. We can add checkbox property to archive areas when it is not relevant anymore. Let's upload cover image for this personal area. Continue to add other relevant areas as you want. For now, let's leave this database as it is, and we will revisit this again later on to add relations and functionality. Next, let's create projects database. Projects represent a collection of purposeful tasks, each with a specific deadline, serving as the means to effectively attain your goals. To make it clear, areas are at the top of this system, followed by project and tasks. Projects consist of a series of tasks. Delete this property because we don't need it. Let's add some projects here. As usual, create default template for new project. Now, a date property for the start and due date of the project. Let's add status property to determine the status of the project, whether it is in box, planned, in progress, or completed. We can add more projects if you want. Leave this project database as it is. We will come back to this database later to add more functionality. To enhance our productivity, we'll create a tasks database to manage our to-do lists and track our progress on specific projects. Let's add a sample task and create default template for the new task. Add date property for the due date of the task. Next, add checkbox property to tick when the task is completed. Add the text property to add description to our specific task if needed. We can also add URL property if some tasks need to refer to some website links. For now, leave this task database as it is. Next, we'll create the resources database. This is where we'll store articles, books, links, and other reference materials that are relevant to our areas and projects. Resources can be associated with specific projects or areas, making it easier to find information when we need it. Now, let's add a sample resource. As usual, create default template to make it easier when we add new resource. Next, let's add other properties such as status, resource type, URL, media, and description. Add checkbox property to differentiate between resources which are favorite or not. Add another checkbox property to set whether the resource is still relevant or not. If the resource is not relevant anymore, we will move it into archive. Again, let's leave this database as it is. Next, we'll set up a notes database to capture and store our detailed notes and thoughts. We can link notes to relevant projects, areas, or topics, creating a network of interconnected knowledge. Add status property to determine the status of the note, whether it is still inbox, draft, or final. Next, add a created time and last edited time property. Add checkbox property for favorite and archived notes. Let's continue to create notebook database. This notebook will contain series of relevant notes. Lastly, we'll also create a topics database to organize our notes and resources based on specific subjects or topics. This will enable us to easily locate and retrieve notes related to specific areas or projects. Next, to make our database become functional, let's set up relation between database. Add relation property and choose projects database to create relation between tasks and its respective project. Assign the tasks to its related project. Next, add relation for resource and notes. Now go to the project database and let's add some relations. First, let's create relation between projects and its related areas. Next, let's create progress bar to show the completion progress of each project. Add roll-up property, then select task. It will show the percentage progress of each project. In this case, the progress is still 0% because none of the tasks is complete or checked. The progress column of Learn Spanish and Python project is blank because we haven't assigned tasks to them. Next, let's add other relation for notes and resources. Now, on the areas database, add relation for notes and resources. Next, we move on the resource database. Let's add relation with topic database. This will enable to categorize the resource with related topics. Let's go to the notes database and add relation with notebooks. This will allow the relevant series of notes to be collected in the notebook. Next, let's continue with other remaining database for notebooks and topics. Now that we have our databases set up, let's create a dashboard and navigation menu to provide easy access to our second brain's various sections. The dashboard will serve as our central hub for managing and navigating our information effectively. First, let's make our dashboard page becomes to column. On the left side, we will put our navigation menu, and on the right side, we will customize our second brain section. Next, we can add callout block to make a bounding box effect to our navigation menu. Create new pages for our inbox, tasks, projects, areas, resources, notes, and archive. Later, we will customize each page to add more detail and functionality. Next, let's create Inbox section. This section is used to effortlessly capture any thoughts or ideas that come to mind related with resource, task, project, and notes. We will add linked view of resource, task, project, and note database. To add linked view, just type / and linked. Choose properties that we want to show. In this Inbox section, we only want to show resource with the status Inbox. We also want to only show resource that is not archived. So let's add filter. Next, let's add linked database view for the task. Now, add filters to only show new tasks that has not been assigned for specific projects and date. Next, let's create linked database view for the project's inbox. Now, add filter to only show project status, inbox, and project that is not archived. Lastly, let's create linked view for the notes database. Add the same filter based on the status inbox. Before we finish in this section, let's add callout block to add bounding box effect for our inbox section. Next, let's create section for our life areas. Add linked database view for our areas. Change the database view to gallery view. Select the card preview to cover property that we have created before. This will show the cover image for each area. Next, let's create section for our projects. Change the database view to board view. This will make it easier to change the status of the project just by drag and drop. Next, we need to create tasks section. In this section, we will see a list of the active tasks for today, this week, and all tasks. Add filter to the date property to only show task that the deadline is today. Now duplicate this view to another view of tasks that the deadline is this week. Duplicate again to another view for all active tasks. Let's continue to add calendar view of our tasks. This will show our task in calendar format by weekly and monthly. To make it easier, duplicate the weekly view and change it for monthly calendar. Next, let's create section for our resources. In this section, we will have resources that still in review, completed review, and favorite resource. Choose properties that we want to show in list view. Now, we need to add filter to only show the resource that is still in review status. Duplicate this view and change the filter for the completed review resources and favorite resources. Now, if we tick the checkbox, the resources will be moved to the favorite resource view. Next, let's create last section for the notes. Change the database view to Gallery. Choose the property that you want to show on the Notes view. We need to add filter to only show the notes that's still in draft status. Duplicate the view and adjust it for the final notes and favorite notes. The process is pretty similar with previous section. On the left side panel, let's create sections for the topics and notebooks. Next, let's add section for the notebook. This notebook will contain the collection of relevant notes. Now, let's set up the content inside our page in our Areas section. If you see here inside the Areas page, there is nothing to show. So we want to add the linked database view of the projects and show the project only in the relevant area. Add filter to only show the projects related with this area. Now, let's open Area page and add the template that we have made. You will see only related project with this personal area will be shown. Let's go back to the template and show progress properties of the project. Apply the template for all other pages. Next, let's set up our page on the project database. Inside the project page, we want to show only the related tasks. Let's create our template for the project page. Apply the template for the project page that we have made previously. We only need to apply this to the existing project page. We don't need to do this when we create new project. Next, let's also set up our page in the Topics and Notebook section. The process is pretty much similar. Do the same process for the notebook page. Let's set up each page on the left navigation menu since it is still blank. Create two columns to separate the navigation menu and the content. Copy and paste the navigation menu link. To make it easier, just copy the database view on our dashboard and paste it on the inbox page. Create a home link by copying the link of our dashboard page and paste it on the home text on navigation menu. Now we can easily go back to the dashboard page by clicking the home link on the navigation menu. Next, we can do the same process for our tasks page. Copy this task section and paste it on the navigation page. You can customize this tasks page and add more detail than the dashboard if you want. Next, let's set up our projects page on the navigation menu. In this project page, we want to add 3 sections. The first section is grouping our project based on the status or Kanban view. The second section is categorizing our project based on its area, and the last section is showing the relevant task for each project. Next, by following the same process, let's set up our area page on the navigation menu. Now, we also need to set up our resource page. Use the same process. Let's continue with our notes page. Do the same process. The last part is setting up our archive page. In this archive page, all irrelevant and obsolete data will be stored here. Whenever we need this in the future, we can go to this archive page and find the data that we want to recall. Now, we've created our second brain template based on the Chiago 4-day para method. It's time to put it to the test. In this segment, we'll explore how to use our template to effectively organize information and boost productivity. Let's start by adding a new area to our template. For this test, we'll create an investing area to manage all our investment-related activities. Excellent. Now that we have an investing area, let's create a new project within it. Our project will be stock diversification to optimize our investment portfolio and minimize risk. Now, let's create tasks related to our projects. Since this is a new topic, don't forget to create investing topic. You can also add notebook about investing. Next, let's add some resource related with our project. On this example, I put YouTube video about investing. Let's also create notes about investment guide. Congratulations! You've successfully tested our second brain template, adding the investing area and the stock diversification project. You've experienced how it can help you organize investment-related information, increase productivity, and track progress effectively. Remember, this template is highly customizable, so feel free to adapt it to your specific needs and preferences. Thank you for watching today's tutorial. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more productivity and organization tips. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. Happy organizing!